there, I'm Wes Crochet. I am currently 17 and I am a Chinese adoptee. A few things I want to mention in this video, for this video specifically, is there is distractive food eating throughout the video, so I apologize for that. We will definitely be working on that and making sure that that is more cleared up in the future for future Adoptee Lens videos. And also, I want to give a warning about certain subjects that may be touchy and triggers for some people, such as neglect, abuse, self-harm, and that kind of stuff. Also, last but not least, anything that's said throughout this video is my opinion, and I do not speak for all adoptees. Each of our experiences will be different. Each of our adoption stories, though there may be similarities, they're all very different, so I want to make that clear. I'm Wes, and this is my lens. I was in the orphanage for, give or take, 7 years.
When you were in the orphanage, is there like anything that I guess you remember, like good, bad, or like just anything that you remember being there?
Remember, there were these caretakers, they were all female. I remember I really enjoyed the food, like their food was so good. There was like a lot of abusive things happening in the orphanage.
Can you define abusing, like mental, physical, or like both?
All of the above. Physical abusing, like in my experience, like I remember being drowned, being beaten, being punched, being slapped, being like forced to do something, like be a slave, like be on my knees and do something, be abstained from food, like.
Can you give an example or like a time that you remember that I guess was more
Vivid,
traumatic,
so
vivid-ish?
one of the most traumatic memories of like the abuse in the orphanage I remember is it was like drowning. Like the situation was me being drowned. There's this giant bath white tub and there were like towels everywhere, soaked towels, there's water. And I don't remember how like I got in there, but I just remember like I was in there and I was being pushed down and I was like just struggling to get up and get out, but I just kept being pushed down. Yeah, when I get water in my nose a lot, my brain just automatically, like I don't say like goes like flashback mode, it's just like it just connects it to that, like, oh, like I don't like this, I felt this before.
Do you know if it was like a caretaker or like a child that maybe did that, or
I don't know if it was a caretaker or another child who was in an orphanage, but I'm just gonna infer that they were able to like hold me down in there. You know, obviously they let my head up because like if they had, for however long I was in there, I probably would have died if I hadn't.
I read a lot of things, and then the older kids, they take care of the younger kids when they're in the orphanage because there are so many children and not enough like caretakers. So like, were you helping the caretaker with like infants or younger kids?
I really wasn't assigned to help someone, but I do remember like there was this boy that like I remember so like clearly I bonded with, like a big brother. I remember him a lot, he took care of me. I do remember situations where older children in the orphanage like taking care of us, but like I also do remember like older kids being forced to like hurt the little kids,
like if they do something wrong.
Okay. Like, you know, like remember this one time I was standing in a line with other kids and like the caretaker like yells at this kid to like punch me, and like he doesn't want to, but he punches me and like I hurt, so like both physically and mentally.
Did the orphanage ever give you a Chinese name?
Wenbiao. Wenbiao.
I guess did the orphanage, they have like a last name that every child had? Yes. Also?
So the last name, my last name was like Liu, like Liu, Liu. Like Liu Wenbiao was my name, and apparently it's recorded that it was called Biao Biao. Their name was like whenever like the time frame the child was found, that is like their name. So like if you were, there's like the time frame could be January to March, and so like they be Biao. My first name, I don't know how they get me.
Okay, that's
apparently my name means like standard and university and discipline, because like they want me to, it's like that cheesy we want him to reach great heights and stuff.
Okay.
Liu Wenbiao was my name.
Moving on from when you were in China, coming to the US, do you remember being in a house, living with these people that you're not really sure who they are exactly yet because you're just new, and like learning English and just everything, like it's all new to you.
In the process of that, I just shut down. Like I stopped like trying to process things. I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this because they're gonna get at me and I'm gonna get hurt. So I do remember things, but like I don't remember feeling like overwhelmed of like, oh my god, this
Okay.
is so different. I probably did. I mean, like you're 7 year old from China and like you're gonna go to Michigan, which is pretty white. You know, it was a lot. Culture shock. Just so you know, y'all, parents, adoptive parents, like, if you're gonna adopt someone from a different country, like, know that there's gonna be a culture shock, and like they're gonna experience like race as it is in America.
Would you want to go back to China?
I do, yes. Very conflicted with that. I think a lot of us are.
Like, do you consider it almost like a second home-ish, or like
I
like
wouldn't
that?
say it's a second home. I do feel like rooted there, like, positive, negative, but yes, it does have a place in my heart where like this is where I'm from.
Is there like a certain age or time frame that you might want to go back?
I actually feel ready to go back like now. Currently, I do feel like I am ready to go, so whenever I can find an opportunity to go that will like be healthy for me and I can have people to support and stuff, it would be very relieving.
Would you want to go like to the big places like Beijing and Shanghai? Mostly, like, I guess those two cities are the most, I guess, tourist areas.
Definitely, I would
So
want
you
to
wouldn't
explore.
Okay, so you wouldn't want to be just in,
Shanghai, no.
because I mean you're from Shanghai, so it's like a big kind of more tourist area. Did you have any trauma dealing with like anything, like you were in the orphanage, then coming to the U.S., then dealing with people just telling you were different?
Yes. The trauma, like when I had an orphanage, like being abused and stuff, I think like my body kind of just like pushed it somewhere deep, like deep in my head mentally. Um, and even with like coming to America, I think like my body kind of just like not like erased it and pushed it out because like I'm still feel the effect. I'm very shaky. I'm very jumpy and stuff. When it comes to being like othered, like I'm the only Asian or I'm the only boy, I have definitely become more aware of like how to be like safe emotionally. So like in new situations and stuff, like, you know, I don't go spilling the tea about my life, you know. Definitely have become more anxious socially.
I guess, how do you deal with everything? Like, is there like a coping mechanism that you guess you just kind of started to develop?
I think the coping mechanism when I was younger was like shut it out.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I think I do the same thing except on a different level. It's more of like I like try to examine like things more. Like, for example, if like say someone didn't reply and stuff, you know, they could have lost their phone, they could have lost their computer or something. One of my big triggers is like seeing parents like be very aggressive like, and very stern with their kids. Like I can't. But like with that, when I see that, I just like kind of overthink. If you continue to raise your child like this, they're gonna think that it's normal to yell at the people they love. They're gonna think that normal is like to be like, no, don't do that. You know, like they're gonna think it's okay to hit them to keep them in check. Still kind of shut down like that, which isn't healthy.
Yeah, I understand.